right, so it's day number 3 at the Detroit Motor City Tattoo Expo. It's the special edition, and actually, we got a treat for you. Jeremy's actually here.
I made it.
After the last 2 days, we've been able to wrangle him into actually being in our interview. For those who don't know what this is our little project called Nothing's Permanent. We call it Nothing's Permanent because I know it's a play on words. Like, we're tattoo artists. We put permanent artwork on temporary beings, right? And we're here to share information to the viewers, people that get to learn a little bit more about our guests, maybe beyond just their dope tattoos that they do, right? And as always, again, it's great having my co-host Dr. Jeremy Miller here. We're going to be digging deep into his ability to ask amazing questions by our amazing guest.
I don't know about amazing.
Well, I'll disagree, but regardless, that you'd be for you to judge. We're able to get Mike Chambers here, and this man is extremely busy. I mean, we scheduled this months in advance. We had to make double and triple check our appointments to make sure it happened in its
because I messed it up. The first
we're going to say that, Mike. We're going to say nothing. We're just going to make it really cool that we're able to speak with you, because it is an honor to appreciate you taking some time out of this busy show on a Sunday at noon when it's starting to kick off to sit down and talk with us, brother. Thank you very much.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, I am pretty confident that those who are watching this are going to know who Mike is, but maybe you could just share with us real quick in Mike's words. Who is Mike, and what got you to where you're at this second? And you can get as fast with it as you want.
That's not a fast that's not a fast answer, especially if I end up going off on into left and right field whenever I'm asked that. I'm just a guy that is very passionate about actually a lot of things. I'm really passionate about helping other people. And I'm very passionate about tattooing. I truly love tattooing. It's enabled me to have a really good life, to support my family, while doing what I love, and then also interacting with people that I normally wouldn't interact with, and getting a glimpse into other people's lives, like firsthand. And I don't know, there's so many different facets to it that I love it.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Well, I mean, you were just saying, you love helping people. And I think that's a good jump off point, because I feel like, in our conversations in the past, you weren't the most kind, right? You had a little bit of a dark past. And then you've had some experiences that then lent itself to how you feel about people today. I mean, do you want to talk to that at all? Who was Mike Chambers before he had this realizations?
The heavy sigh.
It's so hard. I do speaking engagements and stuff at rehabs and prisons and stuff like that, and normally I get like an hour, maybe 2 hours, and it's hard to even fit it into that. But basically, I came from kind of a split home. My parents separated whenever I was fairly young, and I thought it was my fault. It's kind of like that, that special, the afternoon special, where it's like, oh, it's my fault, my parents broke up. But kids really internalize that, and I think, oh, if I would have been better, if I would have done this or done that, then my mom and my dad would still be together. Anyway, I internalized it, and I thought I was bad, and so I started acting that. And from a very young age, I was breaking into my elementary school and just writing bad words on the chalkboard. I was in outside of East LA, but not like outside the edge of East LA, not in East LA, but on the edge, and running with all the bad kids, and just kind of progressed like that. And then I ended up drinking, and I just quickly escalated full throttle into alcohol and acid. I mean, I was taking I don't know, I took 48 hits of acid whenever I was 15.
What?
And
What?
Jeez, man.
Can you recall that situation?
I recall like being awake for like 3 or 4 days, and then like I finally went home because I wasn't living at home that time. Even I left home at a very young age because I got kicked out of every school for fighting. I was just really, really angry, and I just recall going back to my mom's house, and I'm like, Mom, can I die from not sleeping? And she just laid there and rubbed my head and like made me like some warm milk, and I ended up falling asleep. But it was it was fun until I thought I was gonna die from not sleeping. But anyway, it quickly escalated very fast to a really dark place. I ended up in prison. I did 4 years in prison in Texas. Um,
Wow.
very violent prison units, and fighting a lot, which I had lots of experience in, and I didn't think I was going to um, leave prison, whether I was going to get more time or end up killed in a riot, um, but I just kind of thought that's how it was. And
Okay. Were you tattooing before you went to prison?
I was tattooing before I went to prison.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got in trouble. I was going to go to prison, so I left the state. I started riding freight trains. I was like a homeless gutter punk. I lived in the dirt, under bridges, abandoned houses, just getting drunk. That's when I started doing heroin and crack.
Holy
And
shit.
like, really didn't matter. It was anything that anybody had. I was just trying to kind of blot out like my existence. It's like I thought I was going to go to prison and my life was over. So I was just like, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to just do anything. It didn't fucking matter. And yeah.
What was the catalyst for a change? Because this is prior to me knowing you, and I've known you for 20 years. What was the thing that kind of flipped the switch for you and made you kind of turn your life around, which is clearly what you did.
Yeah. My younger brother, he was a little under 2 years younger than me, ended up dying in a fire in LA, in a squat fire, abandoned house that everybody was sleeping in, and he passed out drunk and it caught on fire and he died. And that wasn't a catalyst to get me to stop. It actually was a catalyst to put me more on a suicide mission. But then I went so far into drugs that like just wanting to die, and I couldn't die. And no matter what I did, like I even, I did a big shot of heroin trying to kill myself. And then like some homeless guy found me in the bushes and called 911, and they like revived me. And no matter what I did, I just couldn't die. And I just kept waking up in this like nightmare. And I got to a point where I was like, I just got to get fucking out of this. And it was uh, September 8th, 2005. I was in jail, and I was sitting in a jail cell, and I was terrified. And it wasn't because I was going to go to prison. It was because they had just came and told me that they were releasing me. And I knew that when I got out, it was going to start that nightmare all over again. And I had some clarity. I had withdrawn the drugs in jail, and I was sitting there and I was just fucking terrified. And I I didn't know if I believed in like any kind of God or what there was. I had this big battle. I was raised very Christian, a very Christian family, but I just like rebelled against that. And in that jail cell, I actually got on my knees and I said a prayer, and I just said, help, just need some help. And I got out and I ended up checking myself into a rehab, not thinking it would work, because I had tried to stop over and over and over again and it didn't work. And then whenever I was in rehab, there were guys that would come out and they would share their story about how they had gotten sober. And I started to think I didn't really care about myself at that time, because I had done so many fucked up things, so much so much pain I'd caused. And I didn't really care so much about myself, but I thought that if I could get sober like these guys did, that I could share my story and it might help some other people get clean and change their life. So I decided that I was going to work their program that they had, and then if it worked, then I could help other people. And that was really my driving force too. That catalyst, was that maybe I could help some other people.
I love that, man. So I firmly believe that there is a God, and that God is ready to help us when we get to that point of being willing to say, I need help. And whoever's watching this, however they want to take that, right? I believe that when you get to that point, that's when God's going to open up and clearly show you that, yeah, you have a purpose. And I can't imagine how many people that you have actually impacted. Maybe they don't even know the story at all. And like I said, I've known you for a long time. I didn't know this story. And I feel like you've impacted my life tremendously. And I'll talk about that. And there's things that you probably don't even remember, but you've impacted me as an artist and as a person, and somebody who's navigating this crazy, insane career. But I can't help but think that that's God, or whatever you want to call it. If you're listening to this, that's God working through Mike Chambers to better impact the people, because your purpose in life is to be an impact, to create an impact. And then that impact just spiders out there and goes everywhere, man.
Yeah, it's just a rippling effect.
Yeah.
Even the smallest, even the smallest thing, even holding a door for someone and a smile,
Yeah,
can send a ripple through someone's day.
absolutely.
Same with just being an asshole to someone, like bumping into them and just being like, whatever. Can also have a ripple effect. It's like, what ripples do I want to send out, because those ripples come back. So
Yeah. So you mentioned you've been doing some speaking at prisons and so on. Is that something you're still doing, or is that something you're supporting somehow?
To be quite honest, I've slacked on doing it because a lot of other things have gotten really, really busy life. But I haven't been doing it nowhere near as much as what I used to. I used to have engagements where I would do, like, each week I would do a juvenile facility. I would go to a juvenile facility. I would go to an adult rehab, and then I would go to a prison in Texas, and I would do that every week, 3 commitments a week. And then I've done speaking engagements out in Philly. I've gone and spoke at juvenile detention centers and detox centers, and I try and still do that. And if anybody's watching this and somebody wants me to come and speak,
Yeah.
I'm more than happy
There you go.
to come and speak anywhere. I also do, I do presentations with around the world. And anytime I do those presentations, I also include my story. Magazines aren't really that relevant these days, but every magazine that I've ever been in, I always include that story of hope, because there is hope. And I work through a lot of people. I have an email set up, which is Mike Chambers, MYK Chambers at Hotmail, which it's an old ass email, but it's at Hotmail. But I have that reserved specifically for people that are trying to find a way out, that want to know how I did it. And I correspond with people, and I've been doing that for 15 years with that email.
I think that's phenomenal, and it's cool that email's still there, because it could be a placeholder, and as the tattoo industry has exploded and we're having more and more people coming in, and people coming in from maybe not given good strong mentorship or leadership, they're a little lost, right? And as they're coming to these shows, they're trying to fit in. And as those of us who've done shows for a long time, sometimes fitting in is doing things that maybe you don't agree with, right? Maybe you do go end up partying more, or participating in things that maybe that don't really sit well. And it's, I think, important for artists or anyone hearing this that you can look to leaders in the field like yourself, and glean some strength, knowing that you've gone through a lot, and that you can turn it around, right? You don't have to go down that path. And I'd love to, like you're saying, if somebody's interested, please hit Mike up if you want to speak. But I'd love also to see you of course you're busy, man, and I know you're so busy, but at least that being something that artists could find out from you when they do engage with you at shows, maybe having some opportunities to hear your story, to get some advice from you, you know, like one of the things that I think I even reached out to you and asked is like I had been recently 6 months sober at the last show we were together in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and at night, what do you when everyone else is out partying? What do you do? And you gave me some good advice. I mean, what do you do when you're at a show, your schedule wise, to keep you mindful of your sobriety, mindful of being successful at the show, and not putting yourself in any sort of negative situations?
Well, I mean, I guess first I try and not surround myself with people that would put me in those situations. Granted, I there's like weed. Weed doesn't bother me, and I think most everyone that's not like actually sober kind of smokes weed or whatever. And I know most everyone I know smokes weed, which I don't care. It doesn't bother me. In the beginning, whenever I first got sober, I couldn't be around it because I wanted to smoke weed. I'm like, well, weed's not bad. But for me, I don't need something to change my state of mind. So I had to be strong enough in my program or what I'm doing to be able to put myself in those situations. But like today, last night or here it shows everyone likes to congregate and drink and have fun, and I can do that, with a water or a soda or whatever, and people for the most part know that I don't drink, and they don't sweat it. Now, I'm not going to hang out when everybody starts getting that glazed over 3 Mile stare and telling everybody they love them. I'm just going to dip. But yeah, so I do try and hang out, and I still try and hang out with people a little bit, and the camaraderie after the show. It's really important. It's really it's relationship building. It's where a lot of things happen. It's where you meet people and you get to go travel and do guest spots and meet new friends and stuff. So I'm not trying to like hide away from that, but I do really like to go. And I mean, never mind. I'm not going to admit what I watched on TV last night, but I did just, I hung out for a little bit, and then I went to my room and I just chilled and watched some like garbage TV.
Thousand Pound Sisters.
No,
I've been watching. It's terrible.
Dude, I was with my partner. She started watching Love Is Blind,
Oh,
and
I've been told I need to do it.
and I'm sitting there and I'm just like, oh God. And I start watching. Next thing I know, he's trash. Like I'm like in it. I'm like fully in it. And now I'm like upstairs catching up. She's like, I'm on season so and so or episode so and so. I'm like, all right, I gotta watch this. But anyway, that went.
So I drink, but I don't drink a lot. I'm definitely not like an alcoholic kind of drink. Like I'll typically have one drink if we're down at the bar, but I don't do drugs. I've never done drugs, and obviously in this environment, weed is very prevalent and is brought up all the time, but even harder drugs than that. And I've never wanted to go down that route. But when I first started doing conventions, this is at a time when you were really like a big name, right? I don't know if that was the beginning of you being a big name or not, but we both worked in Austin, and I came over to your shop, and I remember seeing that you have this tattoo on your neck that says plug it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's on the other side, so I can't see it right now. But I remember it standing out to me because I want to be at the bar. I want to be down there, and I don't have to be drunk to just have a blast and be that idiot that can go nuts. But I also didn't want to ever fall into the pressures of starting to smoke weed, because I know that if I just say, it's not going to hurt, it's going to be a gateway for a guy like me. And before you know it, I'm going to be doing coke, and then whatever's next down the line, I don't even know. I don't know what the kids are using these days. But me knowing that somebody that I looked up to as an artist and somebody that was already in this convention scene, it kind of gave me a little bit of confidence to know that it's okay. I can reach a good high level in this industry. There was a time when I think we were actually here where you, me, and Dan Hink all shared a room. And I said, something about nobody ever makes any money at conventions. And you looked at me and you're like, what are you talking about? Like, you can make great money at conventions. Like, it's a really great moneymaker, and you can really start to build your career there. And it really got me down this path of thinking, okay, I need to look at this as another extension of my career. I wouldn't be in the shop getting drunk, trying to do drugs. Like, I can take that same philosophy out to this convention and use it as kind of part of my career builder. So it stood out to me.
So, Mike, it's your fault that Jeremy has been so busy at the show this whole time. He's only participating in one thing.
That's right.
He's been trying to make money. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's great work ethic. And I think that's important I think that work ethic that you gleaned from Mike, that I think even a lot of young artists need to know, especially at shows. It is about working too. It's not just about. I mean, and it's great to network. It's great to meet. It's great to mingle. I love the advice when you get in the glazed eye and the 3-yard stare and I love yous, get out. Right, go get some sleep. Get up and come to work and start engaging with people. Start trying to sell them food tattoos. No.
That's right. Everybody needs a food tattoo and they don't go stale.
Yes, sir. But no, I think this is good advice. Things that, again, young tattoo artists maybe not got in their apprenticeships because maybe they didn't get an apprenticeship, right? And nowadays, especially with technology, it's difficult,
One thing that I really try and do as much as possible is especially at conventions or just in general, but especially at conventions, because there's a lot of young tattooers coming around, and they're looking up to people and looking and seeing what people are doing and stuff like that. And I always try and be approachable, and talk to people and be welcoming. Like, I'm an open book. People can come by and ask me, oh, what are you using there? I'm like, oh, I'm doing this, and this, and this is what I'm doing. I'm totally open. And I also want to try and represent how someone should be carrying themselves, because I find that, like, tattooers can sometimes go through kind of an evolution in their growth. Like, the apprentice is like humble, and then as soon as they start tattooing, then they're like a big shit. They're just like, oh, I'm awesome, I'm badass, and then they stay in that awesome badass thing for a while. But if they get like some like popularity, they can kind of like really stay in that like I'm better than you thing. But then the other artists that are like very well known, very established, are way more humble and respectful and nice to everyone, not just if you're a good tattooer. And I see this thing with these tattooers that are like, oh, I won't even talk to you, like, because your tattoos aren't the style I do, or as like they feel they're beneath them. I was having a conversation online with this guy that, like, I started posting these kind of trolling videos where I'm like just asking, what hurts worse, a rotary or a coil? And, it's like, it's all in the technique. It's not the machine, it's the technique. We all know that. But it got like hundreds of comments. It went viral. And this one guy like commented, and he gave this very precise, pretty accurate explanation of why, people perceive one hurting over the other. And then this guy commented and was like, after your comment, I thought you were going to be this awesome tattooer, and then I look at your work, and your work basically sucks, is what he said. And like, you have no room to talk because your work's not good. And he just like thought he like was beneath them. And then I go to the guy's page, and that guy is like posted this video that kind of went viral, of him talking about like wanting to like do better in his life and his career, and like he's like having trouble trying to like push his career and push what he wants to tattoo. And then I wrote him back. I was like, hey man, I watched your video. I wrote him back on that post, and I was like, hey man, I watched your video about how you want to get more clients and get further in your career. And I'm like, well, this ain't it. And I'm like, and then we ended up having a conversation, and where he's like, you know what, you're right. And it was, I don't know, it's kind of cool. I tried to be respectful to him, and but it's like, sometimes people can have the wrong idea of what it is to be, at a certain level in your career, that you're supposed to be an asshole and you're not.
No.
You people you're not going to get far.
No, I don't think there's a point in your career.
Like you can polarize people on social media. Like obviously, like negative stuff gets more of a reaction and goes more viral and gets you more attention than posting positive things. It just does,
Yep.
And it's sad because people are like trolling and like making people angry and it gets like more of a reaction, but it's just not the way, man. It's just.
Well, I feel like you kind of did the same thing for me at one point. Not about the attitude, but really about the like technical ability. This is back in the Ink Nation days where I was hitting that little point of popularity, thinking I'm hot shit. And I posted this picture of a lava lamp that I tattooed because that's the shit I do. And everybody was kissing my ass and telling me how great it was. And then you commented on it and said, the orange in the background is not saturated at all. And I was like, God damn it, Mike, we're friends. Can't do that. Do you remember this?
I kind of remember it, but I'm also not one to reward, like, to like push. Yeah. You can like telling people they're doing awesome when there's like, but I'm also about, saying, yes, this is great. Maybe bump up your saturation here.
At this point, like you did the same thing that you said. You said you wanted to get better and you wanted to grow as an artist and get a critique. I'm not being an asshole. I'm telling you, yeah, the piece looks cool. It looks good. You did a great job, but bump your saturation here. If you say you want to do better, you can't get offended.
Hopefully I was nice.
Oh, you were.
But so here was a catalyst for my work to get better was you may not know this story, you may not. I own the shop, that my shop in Austin, and I was at my shop in Austin, and then I had been tattooing over 10 years, and a shop down the road, the whole shop, like 5 dudes showed up to my shop, and it's just me sitting there at the counter, and they come in. And these are all guys that I looked up to their tattoos. I really loved what they did. And they came in and they proceeded to tell me that how bad I sucked. And they were like, your tattoos are awful. You're fucking people up. And they're like, you need to like seriously stop tattooing. And I had, dude, all the like 5 dudes, like 5 well-established, really good tattooers are telling me, hey, you suck. And I was like, whatever, I'm just like, I'm not backing down from them, but I'm like, no, you're fucking wrong, dude. I'm polite because I'm not gonna sit there and talk shit to 5 dudes, but I'm like, no. And then they're like, then they just leave. And then I was pissed, dude. I was so pissed. I was like, these motherfuckers. And then that night I started looking through my portfolio, and I started to see my tattoos through a different perspective. It was almost like something, like a fucking fog had been lifted. And I looked and I was like, you know what? They're right. I suck. And it was, before that, I thought I was good and I didn't really see room for improvement. And then I realized, dude, I fucking suck. And I'm like, man, I've been tattooing over 10 years. What do I do? This is my life. This is everything I have. And it's like, do I just fucking quit and give up? And I decided, no, I'm going to show these motherfuckers. I just threw out everything I thought I knew. I started actually every tattoo I saw, I would look at a tattoo and I wouldn't just look at the design and I just wouldn't just go, oh, that's cool. I would fucking religiously look at the color choices they made, the line weights, the saturation, the like percentages of like black to color to skin. And I would break everything down. I started, I bought books, I bought DVDs, and I started going to conventions and watching people like tattoo firsthand, and I would just sit there and watch them and just study religiously, like everything in me, just so much passion for it. and I started getting better. And then I just put everything I had into it. And I feel that's what it really takes. You have to be devoted. You can't half-ass tattooing and expect to really succeed and really do well. You have to put your all. And unfortunately, it doesn't offer a work-life balance in that situation. It really doesn't. I did not have a work-life balance. My life was tattooing. All of my life was tattooing. I just lived and breathed tattooing. And my tattoos started getting good and people started really seeking me out. And then magazines started seeking me out. I didn't like they were actually seeking me out, like contacting me. Hey, we want to do a feature on you. Hey, we want to do this. And then I started traveling more. And then the next thing you know, like my career's just like
blowing up.
Yeah. But it's also from like meeting people, going traveling and meeting people and being nice and trying to, always be courteous and also like congratulating people on their success and not being envious of their success, being like happy for them. And then once I started like doing well, I would try and bring other people to do well with me,
I think that's infectious.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right word for it, but it is.
Yeah.
It gets all those people around you to feel it too and want to continue that trend. It's like the pay it forward idea, right? It just gets, it just goes out and permeates everything that we've got going on. And it's such the opposite of what I keep hearing a lot about today is people will look at us as the old guy tattooers as gatekeepers. I don't think that's gatekeeping at all. I think it's really opening it up and saying, yeah, let's do all this together.
I'm over here taking down notes, right? I'm just writing down all these little nuggets because, again, I feel like there's artists out there that maybe not even got just these little truthful bits that you're sharing right now. Of course, having a humble beginning like it, I think this is important for anyone to know that if you're struggling and you're dealing with things in your life and you think you're fucked and you're not going to go anywhere and you can't get out and succeed, Mike is proof that you can come out of that. Mike is proof that you can go to prison or try to kill yourself, end up in prison, and still come out, and still not only after that use your wounds to help others, right? Use your growth by helping others. You're bettering yourself, and from there, realize that even that you can overcome virtually anything, and you can now find yourself, no matter where you're at in your career. Like the imposter syndrome is something I think is just thrown around so much. And I feel like you said, like, when that fog was lifted, the imposter was revealed. And it was like, okay, I can't pretend like I'm good anymore. Now I need to make myself good. And one of the ways that you did that was by just grinding on a day-to-day basis. I love that you said that, because there is no work-life balance in tattooing. It's about trying to find those that can, like it's aligning yourself with people that have that imbalance, because it does require that. And in that, you humbled yourself. You showed humility, right? You showed humility to others. You broke it down, and you just put your nose down and you worked. And from that, it was that effort that actually brought about your success today. And then that you continue to perpetuate that humility, that care, by trying to raise the tides and all ships.
All
ships
high tides rise all ships.
Exactly. And that mentality that's the mentality that's going to lead to a long-standing, successful career that's going to have people continuing to recognize your name as something that's positive, long after you're gone, And I think that, again, these little nuggets, if for people to hear that, don't just think you can do a few tats, buy the greatest equipment, and go online, grind. No matter where you're at, you can overcome it. And if you're struggling and you need help others first. By helping others first, then just like you said, Jeremy, it's going to get the universe, is going to get God, it's going to whatever to move you in a direction that's going to actually align you with more success, right? Like I said, I feel like this was a wise sage sharing some information, and in the context of tattooing, you can apply every single little thing we're talking about this to your life in every aspect of it. So
I think that, like, social media, like that, the world we live in today, kind of gives us a false sense of accomplishment, and especially for what I see for new tattooers. So many of them come out of the gate immediately get 1 million followers on TikTok and are just awesome. That doesn't necessarily make an accomplished career. And even if, yeah, it does work for very, very few, the great majority of us, to have an accomplished, valuable career in tattooing, you have to have that passion, and it has to be your life. It has to be something that you do live and breathe, or your career is going to just immediately stagnate and just kind of move along. You might make enough to get by, but you're never going to really have that true success, that thing that I see as being more something that you can look back and really be proud of.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think the success is different for everyone. You know, what I saw as success 15 years ago is not necessarily what I strive for today, I guess.
Absolutely.
Like,
But I'm interested in that.
but maybe it's because I reached what I was going for.
So can we talk about that though? What would you, let's look back, say 10 years, and say, what would Mike have said was success then? And then how has your life transpired to now, where how would you define success for you?
Well,
today?
what success, you know, what I probably would have said and what I meant back then were probably a little different. Like, I probably would have said, you know, I just want to do, you know, I did. I just wanted to be able to travel the world, see cool things, meet cool people, and do tattoos. I wanted the success because I wanted to be able to tattoo anywhere I go and make money and support myself doing it. But there's also a part of me, which is the ego part, where it's like, I want to be admired, and I want to be looked up at, you know, I want to be, you know, admired. I want to be known. I want people to know my name. I want to make a difference, you know? So, I mean, there's always that battle with the ego and trying to keep that right size. So it's always kind of a thing being like, oh, look, I'm awesome. And it's like, no, just chill out. You're just a dude. You know, you're doing something. You really, I'm not going to discredit the work and the effort that I've done. I'm not going to discredit that, but I'm also going to keep it right sized, where, you know, like, I'm just a guy, you know, and really anybody can do what I've done.
Yeah.
You can. You just ultimately need the passion for that. Like, it really comes down to where your heart is. Like, then, yeah.
I was to say, where's your heart today? Like, you know, you're talking about 10 years ago. What does Mike's success look like
where
today?
I am today is, I want security for my family. I want today I'm able to have a work-life balance, whereas before I had to grind. I just grind so that I, you know, my mom's always told me this, and like, since I was little, she's like, you work like no one does now, so you can live like no one does later. And so, you know, grind, put yourself into it, and then chill, right? And so that I can be in a position. I don't want to be in a struggling position. And, you know, I look at, and it's like, this could be me. I look at, like, you know, a 50-year-old Whole Foods clerk, you know, but, you know, they're still living their life, and I can't judge, because I know I don't know nothing about their life, but I know for me, I wouldn't really be fulfilled. Maybe I would. I don't know. I'm not in that world, but it's like hard for me, especially because you know, tattoo money's not, you know, can be really good. And it would just, it sounds arrogant saying that, or kind of shitty to say that, but I don't want to be working at McDonald's in my 60s.
But I think,
although, sorry, not to cut you off, although I worked with with one of my friends, Brett, and his goal was, like, to work and save money, and then retire and get a job at, like, Walmart or Lowe's greeting people. He's like, that's what I want. And I was like, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I was like, dude, that's pretty sick. I really respected when he said that.
Yeah.
And I was like, Yeah.
But I think like right now, I'm like as you're talking, I'm like, geez, we are old. Uh, we are no longer the young guys out here, and so I feel like we're trying to talk to young tattooers right now. Inadvertently, I think that's what we're doing because we can look back and see all the maybe the stupid choices we made or the times that like I like to think about money and think how much money did I make during these like early years when I was really killing it, especially when you want to talk about early 2000s. Like, geez, so much money. And I pissed it all away, had nothing to show for it. So I want to be able to reach like younger tattooers and say, hey, maybe consider your finances, like as actual finances, not as I'm making a ton of money right now, but think about finance or think about how you're living your life and what you want your future to be. And how do you kind of set yourself up for something that is a positive future, no matter how you define it? So I don't know where I'm going with that, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Save your fucking money.
yeah, save your money.
Don't party. Don't take it all to the strip club.
Talk to Ryan Roy.
Yeah, Ryan Roy, definitely. Again, I want to be on about your time. I know you got a tattoo coming up right away. So, we talked all the nuggets. We already, the sound bites are there.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it's amazing. So, what is Mike's immediate plans? Anything you want to share? And then, of course, again, I'm sure so many people know who you are, but any contact or place that we can direct people if they just want to. I know you got your Hotmail, but then also places to get tattooed by you, places to just connect with you, places to even just like know where you're at and come talk to you.
Right. I mean, I'm on most of the social medias. I'm not really TikTok. I had TikTok, and I was like, no.
We're too old for it.
I still have one. Maybe I should log into it sometime, but it just got to be too much. But my email, mikechambers@gmail, or booking is through my website, mikechambers.com, or Seven Swords Tattoo Company.
Yeah.
I have two shops. I have Seven Swords Tattoo Company in Philly and in Nashville. I'm in the process of opening a second location in Nashville. And stop by the shop. People stop in. If you want to check and make sure I'm in town, I always welcome people to stop by, hang out. Tattooers, you want to do a guest spot, email the shop and send us links to your work. And if your work is good and at least as good as ours, then we invite people out. And yeah.
Super approachable, easy to get hold of Mike. I mean, that's the way it should be, right? So I appreciate you taking the time, brother. Appreciate you sharing these golden nuggets. I'm personally hoping to see you continue to find that enjoyment from all the hard work that you put in. I believe you deserve it, and I also know that when others come up to you, when others going to come up to Mike, you're going to be able to share the appropriate information that's going to help them with that next level. So thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah,
As always.
guys.
All right.
Awesome.
Have fun working.